Okay, and welcome back, students who are taking Math for Business and Finance and Math Applications. We're working on the Chapter 18 Summary Practice Test, so we're in this series of videos. So, as always, if you don't understand something, pause and rewind and watch the video again, and if you still don't understand something, feel free to speak with an instructor. And the other thing I want to mention here is that, understand the process, okay? And they're really not that much, that different. I mean, Fifo is almost exactly like Lifo. Sure, the retail method is very similar to the gross profit method. Weighted average, is slightly different, but, each method, has its own specific process. And if you understand the process, like you saw in the last video, it didn't matter whether I was doing distribution and I was distributing between departments or I was distributing by sales. Okay, it doesn't matter what the terminology is, it's a matter of the process. So really in doing these problems, the most difficult thing is making sure getting your data set up the correct way. So when I'm looking at problem number 1 here, I have a paragraph that has a bunch of data in it. When you were in the textbook, and they were presenting tables with the information across the table and going down, okay? And your data is not going to always be given to you in the format that you want, right? I mean, in the business place, I mean, you might have your inventory might be on index cards in a recipe box, okay? So, I mean, and honestly, I worked at a refrigeration and air conditioning company. That's the way they handled their inventory, recipe box with index cards in it, right? So, you have to take the information and put it in a format that is easily understood for you in order to be able to apply the process. So with that said, let's do number 1 here. And as you can see, this here is all in a paragraph format. So it says we have a beginning inventory of 16 sets of pens at a cost of $212 each. And then it says during the year, purchased 8 sets at $215, 9 at $225, 14 at $305, and 13 sets at $320. So by the end of the year, 29 were sold. Okay. Calculate A, the number of pen sets in stock, and B, the cost of the ending inventory under Lifo, Fifo, and the weighted average methods. All right, so let's set this data up in a way we can understand it. All right. So we're going to start out with our beginning inventory right here, and that was 16 sets at $212 each. And then they purchased 8 more at $215. Okay, so notice that even though there's no date, I'm going at the very top as my first ones in. My last ones in are going to be, added to the list. So then we have 9 at $225, 14 at $305, and 13 at $320. Okay. So first ones in are here, last ones in are down here. All right. Now it says A, calculate the number of pen sets in stock. Right. Well, remember, all of this is what's available for sale. Okay. And it tells us that we sold 29. So how many total did we have available for sale? So we have to add these all up. Let's see, and that comes out to 60. So that 60 were available. And we sold 29. So that means we have 31 as our ending inventory. Okay, that's what's still in stock. Okay. Now, it says here B, calculate the cost of ending inventory under Lifo, Fifo, and the weighted average method. All right. I'm going to treat these in the order they're presented, but notice what I'm doing here. I mean, I have a choice. I could go and I could extend. If I were to do just one of these methods, if it had said just calculate LIFO, right? I'm going to show you what I would do if I just calculated LIFO. If it said just calculate FIFO, I'm going to show you what I would have done if I just calculated FIFO. And then if it said do the weighted average method, well, I'd show you what I'm going to do for the weighted average method. But what I'm trying to get at here is if you have all of this data, what you could do right now is you could extend these out and come up with these dollar figures, okay? And then total those up to get a total cost of goods available for sale, right? I mean, you could do that right now, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But the reason why I wouldn't do that at this moment in time, unless of course I was doing the weighted average method, which forces me to do that. But if I'm doing LIFO or FIFO, I'm actually saving myself a few mathematical calculations, because depending upon what's left in inventory, some of these I don't have to extend. So I'm saving myself just some calculations there. All right. So, up front here, I could go and extend all of these if I wanted to. If I'm using the weighted average method, I have to extend them all, right? But if I'm using LIFO or FIFO, I don't have to extend them all up front, okay, to get a cost for each one, all right? So, it's telling us that 29 sets were sold, okay? So I'm going to do LIFO first. So if 29 were sold, I have to take out 29 out of what I have available, right? And since it's LIFO, I'm starting down at the with what was last in, okay? Because they're the first ones coming out. So I can take out 13 sets there. That gives me 16. Then I can take out this 14, and that gives me 2 left over. Okay, so out of this 9, I have to take out 2 more, right? I have to take out 2 more, which means I only have 7 left. Okay, so now when I go ahead and I extend this, 16 at 212 is 33.92. 8 at 215 is 17.20, and 7 at 225 is 15.75. Okay, and when I add those all up, since that's what's left in my inventory, now before I add them up, notice I didn't have to extend these 2 here, okay, because they're gone, right? They're no longer in inventory, okay? So I don't have to extend them, and I just saved myself doing 2 steps of math, right? And that's what I was referring to before, okay? So when I add all 3 of these figures up, I end up with a value of $66.87 for my ending inventory using LIFO, okay? So LIFO is equal to 66.87, right? Now, let me erase this stuff here. And get back to where we were. We don't need this. Get rid of that. Touch that. Oops. Get rid of that. And that's 14. Right. So with FIFO, right, we're going to take the first ones in are the first ones we're going to take out. So we need to get rid of 29 of them. So we get rid of the 16. That gives us 13 left. We can get rid of the 8, right? Which means we have 5 left to get rid of. And so if we take 5 out of the 9, that leaves us with 4 left. Okay, so we don't need those. And we start extending. 4 times 2 1/4 is $9. 14 at 305 is 42.70. And 13 at 320 is 41.60. And so we just add those up, and we end up with 93.30. as our ending inventory for FIFO. Okay. So FIFO is 93.30. Okay. All right, and now let's do the weighted average method. So with the weighted average method, we have to extend all of these. So again, this here is 16 at 212 was 33.92, and 8 at 215 is 17.20, and we need a total here, right? So we're going to add up all of these, and that gives us 155.67. So remember, for the weighted average method, we want to come up with a dollar per unit that we can use, as an average. So it's an average dollar per unit that we're going to multiply against whatever is in our ending inventory. Okay, so it's basically just smoothing the data out. Okay, and so in order to get the average per unit, we take our total cost of 155.67 and we divide it by the number of units, which was 60. Okay, and that gives me a $2.59 per unit per item. Okay, and since we have 31 in ending inventory, okay, 31 times the 259, that gives me $80.29 for the weighted average. Is $80.29. Okay, so that's how you do the LIFO, FIFO, and the weighted average method. All right, and if you have any questions, definitely give us watch it again. I mean, watch the theory videos, watch the drills and the word problems, work through them, because by now this is should be kind of repetitive. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video for problem number 2.